Well, last true road trip, saved the longest for the last. Anytime you go on this trip, you know what you're in for travel-wise. But I've never quite figured out whether it's better to play San Jose on the front end or the back end. It just depends on how you play and how you look at it, I guess. Kind of interesting when when you look at some things that I've looked at a little bit the last couple days in terms of what I'll talk to our team about. One of the things that is kind of interesting is I was reading Idaho's press release for the game, and they were talking very positively about being 10-4 at home, and meanwhile we're in a full panic because we've lost 14 home games. It's all relative, I guess, but we are third in the league in terms of home record. Nevada went 13-2, I think. They lost 2, and New Mexico State lost 3, and we were third in the WAC, going 13-4 at home. And so obviously, I think when you consider that, our woes have certainly been on the road. And when you go to league road games, we're 1-4, and you look at the games on the road, I had a competitive chance to win in just about every one, other than New Mexico State, the last 10 minutes where we got away from us. So, we need to feel like we can go on the road and give ourselves a chance to win. And, then you got to get over the hump, obviously. But, a lot of averages might catch up if we can put ourselves in that position again. When I look at San Jose, the first thing I noticed watching them on film is they have not in any way, shape, or form quit playing. They played well at New Mexico State. They were in the game. They had a really good game plan. They were in the game the whole way. Had New Mexico State, after they had just beaten Hawaii by 40, had New Mexico State kind of half out of it, gave themselves a chance to win. So you have to admire that about San Jose. And I think you also have to look at their home games in WAC play. And that's, we're playing them in third place, obviously. So that's what you have to look at. And an overtime win, an overtime loss, 6-point game against Nevada. I mean, they've had good performances at home. We're going to have to definitely play better defense than we did when they came to Logan. Watching that game tape, we were not very good defensively. We had a really hard time guarding them. They're quick and active in the perimeter. Will Carter's averaging a double-double in WAC play, and that's pretty impressive. He's having a great senior year. So that's, the challenges at San Jose. They play obviously, when you go to the other end, they play a funky matchup zone that is hard to figure the rules out. As many years as I've watched it, it's really hard to figure out what their rules are. It has zone principles. Sometimes the guys follow guys through and it looks like man. Then they'll switch to straight man. So they do some things that can cause you confusion if you don't know what you're doing against it. Then obviously the long trip to Hawaii. Hawaii had a tough weekend last weekend, but they are back on the island where they're at their best, and it'll be senior night the night we're there, and so obviously their size and the rebounding advantage they had on us in Logan will certainly be huge factors in that game, and we've got to do a better job rebounding to have a chance in that game. And then the travel is really interesting because we can't get home after the game, which we've always done. We'll get home Sunday night at 9 p.m. And turn around and leave for the WAC tournament on Wednesday. So what I've normally done on that trip, after that trip, is take a couple days off because of the jet lag and so forth, and the travel woes. And, you really, I don't know how you can take Monday and Tuesday off, practice one day and go to the WAC tournament, but we'll figure something out. Obviously, you can't get home at 9 p.m. and think you're getting anything done in practice on Monday. So the trip as a whole is a challenge, and I would have rather had it at a different time in the season, but this is where it fell, and it's nice to be coming off a home win, where our guys rallied and did what they needed to do in the second half. We have a hard time guarding their guys, and they're really loose. I mean, it's not like you can prepare your guys like we're able to do some games, because you don't know exactly when they're going to do what. I mean, they just, they'll do one thing one time in a certain set, and you think it's the same thing, and it's not the next time. And you've got to do a better job of switching on necessity. You got to do a better job of guarding the ball. That's the number one key with their perimeter guys. Can we guard the ball? If they go by us time and time again, put your defense in jeopardy. And then you're not even talking about Will Carter. And he had 19 and 10 against Mexico State. And I've always really liked that kid, and he's a great kid from Pocatello, Idaho, that we've always loved as a player and as a person. And just at the time he was being recruited, we couldn't do much. So he's a guy that you've got to pay attention to, and you've got to double him some and give him some different looks. And you go to zone and you kind of hope they miss some shots, because they're gonna get some shots, and they're gonna put your defense in jeopardy with all the penetration again. So trying to guard the ball is a huge part of that game.
Just help the team.
Couldn't hurt. We've been a little bit snake bit. I've been irritated after close losses and some of the things we didn't do down the stretch, but there's been some bounces that haven't went our way, and oftentimes those things can even out over the course of a whole season. Or we've won a lot of those kind of games through the years, and maybe it's evening out the other way, or maybe it will next year. Who knows? But sometimes even in the course of the same year, those things can even out. We've got to put ourselves in a position to where it is a close game. That's what you try and do on the road. And anybody who thinks San Jose's only won one league game, so you should just waltz in there and beat them, they don't understand going to San Jose. It's always a struggle there. It's oftentimes. Now last year they had some kind of frat thing going on, and it was pretty wild and pretty active. Yeah, they did, and he didn't even really know it or care. He just shot it in to hurt him. So who knows what they'll have going there, or if they'll have much going, because it can be a strange atmosphere there. And then you go to Hawaii and the sun's out, and you get a little rejuvenated over there oftentimes. But I've always thought, as long as I've been going to the island, which is many, many years, they're bigger, they're quicker. It's like BYU playing BYU at BYU compared to playing them on the road when they're on the road. It's the same with Hawaii, and they're playing big enough as it is, but they just are bigger and quicker and play better. Almost you can say that about everybody being at home, but even double that. That's just what you tend to get with Hawaii. And then heavens knows they're awfully talented. I mean, that's they're 6-6, same as us, and have a lot of talented guys. When you're having a 500 type season, sometimes things get a little lost in the shuffle, and that's happened with the type of year Preston's having. I couldn't have imagined him doing more things. His line the other night was incredible. I mean, I actually wrote it down to mention to our fans at the luncheon today, our boosters. It's just an incredible line. I haven't seen many lines like that in my coaching career. He's been a better defender for most of the year than we thought he could be, and that slipped a little bit as the years lengthened, and we got to get him back to doing what he can do defensively on this trip. But he's had a really good sophomore season. I mean, he's played so well, and you look at his numbers, and they're awfully good numbers. His game, and you say this, and people are like, oh, but I said to my assistants afterwards, that was a J.C. Carroll game. I mean, that was something. It was just the second half. He was like, whoa, and J.C. had some of those. J.C. had a lot of those games, but And he's hard to guard because he can shoot it, he can go by you, and he can pass it. He just presents a lot of problems. I've asked him to try and give us more leadership, and when you're a sophomore and when you have seniors and all that, sometimes that's a little difficult, but I think he understands. I'm asking that for the remainder of this year, but I'm also trying to get him to understand how much leadership he's going to have to carry as a junior and senior.
Wow.
Long time. Way back at Colorado State, he was commissioner of the WAC. Karl, I think Karl's done a great job. You have, as a conference commissioner, those are very hard jobs. You have to stand on that fence a lot. And you better not fall off one way or another too much, or you won't be around. He's survived in a very tough job, and he's got good judgment. He's a quality guy. He's got a personality. He's got a sense of humor. I mean, I like Karl. He's got his own reasons for making the move he's making, and everybody can speculate on that. It really has nothing to do with the job he's done. He's done a really good job for the WAC.